From the day he was a tiny puppy, Shadow never left the boy's side. Until one cold night in the Oregon woods, he made a choice that proved what true love really means. This is the story of Shadow, the dog who grew up with a child and gave his life to save him. In a quiet town in Oregon, a young couple welcomed new lives on the same day. A black Labrador puppy they named Shadow, and their baby boy, Ethan. They grew up side by side, their lives woven together from the very beginning. Ethan's first crawl had Shadow lying right beside him, a furry guardian watching over his every move. His first laugh was met with Shadow gently licking his tiny hands, and his first wobbly steps were taken while clinging to Shadow's thick fur for balance. Months turned into years, and seasons changed around them. Through sunny summer afternoons spent chasing balls in the yard and cozy winter nights curled up by the fireplace, they were inseparable. They weren't just a dog and a boy. They were brothers, companions, and the truest of friends. Their bond was something special, something everyone in their small town noticed and admired. When Ethan was diagnosed with Down syndrome, doctors warned his parents about the challenges that lay ahead. They spoke of developmental delays and the extra care he would need. But to Shadow, none of that mattered. He never treated Ethan any differently. He didn't see a diagnosis. He saw his best friend. When Ethan felt frustrated, Shadow would rest his head on his lap, a silent source of comfort. When other kids didn't understand, Shadow stood by him, a loyal protector. And for every small victory, every milestone Ethan reached, Shadow was there, wagging his tail in celebration. He was Ethan's constant, his shadow in every sense of the word. One crisp autumn afternoon, a powerful storm had swept through their town, leaving behind a trail of downed branches and a damaged section of their backyard fence. Ethan, fascinated by a vibrant butterfly dancing in the wind, toddled out of the yard, completely unaware of the dense forest that waited just beyond the broken fence line. He was lost in his own little world, following the colorful wings deeper and deeper into the trees. Back at the house, Shadow noticed immediately. He sensed the danger. His instincts screamed that his boy was in trouble. He started barking frantically, scratching at the back door, trying to get someone's attention, but the sound of the wind and the noise from inside the house drowned out his desperate pleas. No one heard him. Realizing he was on his own, Shadow didn't hesitate. He squeezed through the gap in the fence and ran, his paws pounding the earth as he raced after the boy. For nearly an hour, Shadow stayed right beside Ethan, nudging him away from thorny bushes and guiding him along safer paths. He was a furry compass, a guardian angel in the darkening woods. But then, the unthinkable happened. As Ethan ran across a patch of damp, fallen leaves, his small feet slipped out from under him. He tumbled into a deep, hidden, forgotten remnant of old construction work, obscured by overgrown weeds. He was trapped. The sides were too steep and slippery for him to climb out. His happy afternoon had turned into a nightmare. He cried out, his small voice swallowed by the vastness of the forest. He was cold, scared, and completely alone. Or so he thought. Shadow refused to leave his side. He paced anxiously around the edge of the pit, his barks echoing through the trees, a continuous, desperate call for help. He would peer down, whining, nudging at Ethan with his nose, trying to find some way to pull him up. But the pit was too deep. As darkness began to fall, blanketing the woods in an eerie silence, Shadow knew he had to do something more. Time was running out. With a final encouraging bark towards Ethan, Shadow turned and ran. He bolted toward the distant glow of the main road, his heart pounding with desperation. He had one mission: get help. He burst out of the woods and onto the dark asphalt just as the flashing red and blue lights of police and rescue vehicles appeared in the distance. Ethan's parents had finally realized he was missing. But in that chaotic moment of hope, tragedy struck. Blinded by the lights and focused only on leading the rescuers to Ethan, Shadow was hit by a passing car that hadn't seen him in the darkness. The impact was brutal. Broken and barely able to stand, he whimpered in pain. But even then, he didn't give up. He crawled forward, dragging his injured body, still trying to lead them back into the woods. His loyalty was stronger than his pain. Following the wounded dog's trail and his faint whimpers, the rescue team plunged into the forest. Minutes later, they found him. They found Ethan. He was alive, cold, frightened, and shivering, but safe. He was pulled from the pit and wrapped in warm blankets. Finally, reunited with his frantic parents. Beside the pit, Shadow collapsed. As Ethan was carried to safety, the brave dog's work was done. His tail gave one last weak wag, and then it stopped. He had led them to his boy. He had saved him. Ethan survived that night. Shadow did not. Years later, in a quiet pet cemetery just outside of town, a small wooden cross stands beneath a tall, whispering pine tree. It marks the final resting place of a hero. Every year on the anniversary of that night, Ethan visits with his parents. Now, a young man, he stands quietly, holding a worn, red collar in his hands. He looks at the simple cross and whispers the only two words that matter. Thank you. True loyalty isn't measured in words or grand gestures. It's measured in the quiet sacrifices made when no one is watching. It's found in the unwavering heart of a friend who refuses to leave your side, no matter the cost. Shadow taught Ethan, and all of us, a profound lesson. He showed us that love sometimes asks for the ultimate sacrifice. He proved that the bonds of friendship and loyalty can transcend species, and that the greatest courage often comes in the smallest, furriest of packages. His story reminds us to cherish the silent protectors in our own lives. So I'll ask you this. Would you be willing to give everything just to save someone you love? Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories that remind us of the good in the world.